This is one of the greatest achievements of human history. A photo taken on July 20th, 1969 during the Cold War between the US and the Soviets. But the story of how Americans got humiliated by the Soviets in the space race and then did a comeback is a story that has never been repeated again. On October 4th, 1957, the Soviets launched their first satellite, Sputnik 1. This historic event left Americans humiliated, adding to their embarrassment. Just a month later, they sent Sputnik 2 into space with Laika the dog. Americans were falling behind the space race and needed to act quickly. So on December 6th, 1957, they attempted to make their own satellite Vanguard, but sadly, after 2 years of building and spending over $93 million, as soon as it was launched, it exploded, and its journey ended before it began, leading to another crushing blow to the American pride. But after 4 years of research and hard work, the Soviets did the unthinkable. They stunned the world once more by sending the first man into space. From the depths of humiliation and realizing they were going to lose the space race, American President John F. Kennedy made an important decision and vowed that
before this decade is out, of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the Earth.
The Apollo 11 mission. On February 1967, the Americans decided to test their first manned spacecraft, Apollo 1. But unfortunately, the cabin caught fire, leading to the death of 3 astronauts. As they got humiliated more and more because of their failures, they didn't give up. For a year straight, they decided to launch 9 Apollo spacecrafts for testing and perfecting the art of landing on the moon. After all that hard work and experiments, on July 16, 1969, the Saturn V rocket was launched. This was the most powerful spacecraft ever built, with 160 million horsepower and 7.5 million pounds of thrust. 4 days later, on July 20th, 1969, at 8:17 p.m., Apollo 11 touched down on the moon. Just 7 minutes before the landing, at 8:10 p.m., they were faced with error code 1202. This alarm indicated that the computer was overloaded, and with only 4 kilobytes of RAM, both astronauts panicked. However, they received a communications from Mission Control to ignore the error and continue the descent. But just 3 minutes before touchdown, a huge problem occurred that could potentially kill the crew. Neil Armstrong noticed that the landing site was a crater filled with large rocks, making it unsafe to land. At a height of 150 meters, Armstrong took manual control, guiding the lunar module to a safer location. At 8:16 p.m., with only 5% of fuel remaining, Armstrong had just 60 seconds to land the module or abort the mission. With 160 million people watching and $152 billion in his hand.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
With only 22 seconds of fuel left, Neil Armstrong successfully landed the lunar module. After a decade of hard work and research, the Americans had finally beaten the Soviets in the space race. Unfortunately, John F. Kennedy was not alive to witness this monumental achievement.